Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. It is going to be all about slow homemaking, and I will get into a little bit more like what that is and kind of my feelings on it. And I also want to say a huge thank you to Cricut for teaming up with me in today's video. But today we are going to be doing several different things. Some things I have been needing to do and some things I want to do, but I do have a lot of fun things that I'm planning to share today, so let's go ahead and get into it. I wanna hear you say that you only want me. So while I clean the kitchen, I wanted to chat with you about slow homemaking, just because I feel like it can really help all of us. So slow homemaking is something that I have had my mind on really intensely ever since getting home from visiting our family in Montana this summer. And to me, slow homemaking is less about moving slowly, but instead allowing our minds to move slower and more peacefully. For such a long time, I've struggled with feeling like I'm not getting enough done or feeling like I need to rush to get everything done. And that just ends up keeping my mind racing all day. Even when I'm doing things I enjoy, like spending time with my kids or whatever it might be, my mind is still running around thinking about what I'm gonna have to do next and worrying about how I can accomplish it all. When we were in Montana this summer, it just really hit me that if I rush through life, I will not only miss a ton, but I'll actually miss out on the process of daily life. Of course, I'll be physically doing all the things, but my mind will be preoccupied with stress and worry, and I just don't want that at all. So since then, I have really been making a huge effort to shift my mindset and actions to really start focusing on slow homemaking. So that is exactly what we're going to be focusing on today. Now, that doesn't mean that I can avoid all my chores or only pick a few to get done and let go of the rest, and life can just be filled with only the things I want to do. It just means that I can be all in on what I'm doing in each moment, and I'm just kind of working towards finding ways to enjoy these tasks that I don't necessarily want to do, and then also just making time and priority of the things that I do want to do, and really be in the moment of those things without worrying about what I'm going to be doing next. I know that homemaking is such an important thing, but it can definitely feel very repetitive and very mundane, and yet so much of our day revolves around it. So if we don't slow down our minds and enjoy it, we will end up living a life full of stress and discontentment, and none of us deserve that. All right, next we are going to actually be making some shirts with my Cricut. This is something I always want to do, and I feel like I just never make time for it, which is kind of silly because it really doesn't take much time at all to do. One of my sisters just had a little baby boy, so I got a cute onesie to make for him, and she has an older daughter, so I got a little shirt that I'll make, and they'll be like somewhat coordinating. And then how cute are these? I got another t-shirt for her daughter and a little onesie for her new little baby. So I'm gonna go ahead and make those. I will take you through and show you how incredibly simple it is to use your Cricut to make t-shirts. This is not going to take much time at all, but it's so fun to do. But they actually have a ton of designs already on the Cricut design space, so you can go ahead and pick from there, or you can make your own. So I'm probably just going to end up picking ones from the Cricut design space just to make it easy, and they do really have like a ton to pick from. The hardest part of this is actually picking which design you want to use. Then you're going to set the size that you want, select attach on the bottom right, and then click make it. And whenever you're making an iron-on, you do want to make sure that you select mirror so that your design gets mirrored and cut out correctly. And then you're going to grab a standard grip Cricut mat as well as the everyday iron-on, and then you'll just cut it down to size and place it shiny side down on your mat. And then next you want to set your Cricut machine to the correct setting. So I'm using the iron-on plus setting. And then once your mat is loaded in by pressing the left button, go ahead and press the C button on your machine and let your Cricut do the work. And then once it's all done cutting, you can unload the mat, peel your iron-on away from the mat, weed any of the excess away, and you can see the everyday iron-on already comes with a transfer sheet attached. So once you get the excess peeled off, you'll be ready to make your t-shirts. So now that we have everything cut, or just, for the first shirt, We have the little brother and the big sister. You want to make sure that you've mirrored it. So when you have the sticky side up, it should look mirrored. And when you have the sticky side down, then that's how it's going to look on the shirt. So you just want to make sure that you do that before you iron it onto your shirt. So what we're going to use is I have this mat from Cricut. This is just going to protect your surface, like your table, whatever you're doing this on. And then we have the Cricut steam press. But I'm gonna turn it on and show you guys how easy it is to do it. I feel like Cricut really took all of the work out of it. Really, you just need to look at your heat transfer paper or your iron-on transfer paper and see if it's a cool peel or a warm peel. A warm peel basically means like you're going to pull the transfer paper off immediately after you iron it on. And a cool peel means like you wanna let it cool down. So this Everyday Iron-On is a cool peel, so I'm going to be waiting once I iron it on. So the temperature that you want to have for iron-on is 315 degrees, and then I want to heat it for 30 seconds. But if you need to adjust that, you just would use the up and down arrows, and same with your time. Once you have your iron-on placed with the iron-on touching the shirt and the transfer sheet between the iron-on and your Cricut heat press, you're going to heat it on 315 for 30 seconds, then flip it over and heat for an additional 15 seconds. Then because this is a cool peel, you'll let it cool completely for a few minutes and carefully peel the transfer sheet away from the shirt, and then you're done. It's that easy. So next I started working on designing the iron-on for the second set of shirts, and I'll actually have these designs linked in the description box below if you want to use them as well. But I ended up making a cute sun design with their names on it, and I chose this gorgeous champagne gold color iron-on, and I just followed the same exact steps as before: design, cut, and assemble. I'm deciding to go ahead and finish these up in the kitchen just to get out of my office a little bit more. Look how cute these are turning out. So this is the big sister one, the little brother. I think my sister is gonna love these. And then now we just need to work on this guy. I loved making these shirts and onesies, and if you want to get into making your own t-shirts or any of the many projects that you can with a Cricut, I will have everything I use linked down below. Now sometimes I feel like things like this can feel a bit intimidating, but I hope that this helps show you how quick and completely simple it is to do, and I think making time for fun things like this is so important. Now I have had my Cricut machine for over 2 years now, and I've used it in tons and tons of projects for our home, for our kids, and even for friends and family. And I am just always amazed at how much you can do with your Cricut machine. So like I said, I will have my machine and all the items I used today linked down below. So definitely check that out. I know you're going to love seeing all the different things that you can make with Cricut. In a recent house projects video, you might remember this cactus skeleton that we got from a local furniture thrift store, but we actually got a second one to put in my office, and it ended up fitting so perfectly in there. Then once we got that into its new home, I went around and watered all of my houseplants, which I don't know why, but it is just so peaceful to me to go around and water them. But in the past, I have definitely overwatered some of the plants and actually killed them, sadly. So now I am very, very careful not to overwater them, and I probably end up erring on the side of underwatering them, but I really just love having all these live plants in the house. I feel like it just brings a lot of life and movement and peace into the house. So it's one of my favorite things. All right, next I want to make fun little dessert treats. One is a hazelnut bacon dark chocolate bark. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it's actually really yummy. And then the other one is made with milk chocolate, and it's like sprinkle wafers. They are both so simple to make, super, super yummy. Go ahead and make those. We are going to make the chocolate sprinkle wafers first, but before that, I'm going to start by cooking a few slices of bacon for our second treat recipe. In a microwave-safe bowl, add chocolate chips, then melt them in the microwave in 30-second increments, stirring each time until completely melted. Then grab a cookie sheet and line with wax paper, pour all the little sprinkles over the cookie sheet, and then transfer your melted chocolate into a Ziploc bag, cut off the tip, and squeeze out little dollops of the melted chocolate over the sprinkles. Once you use up all the chocolate, stick them in the fridge until they are fully set. Then for the bacon hazelnut dark chocolate bark, you're going to pour dark chocolate chips into a bowl and melt it the same way as before, only this time we are going to add in about 1 teaspoon of bacon grease for every 1 cup of chocolate chips. Next, I'm using a cookie sheet lined with a silicone mat, and once the chocolate is melted, you can start pouring it out and smoothing it into a layer of melted chocolate. Next, go ahead and sprinkle all of that crumbled bacon on top, as well as chopped hazelnuts or any nuts you have, and then sprinkle very lightly with salt and then pop it in the fridge until fully set. It really does not take long for these to set up, and then once they're ready, just pop the wafers off of the wax paper and store them in an airtight container in the fridge. As for the bacon bark, once it's set enough to be able to break, you're going to pull it away from your mat and snap it into pieces, and this will also need to be stored in an airtight container in the fridge. These are all so incredibly yummy and so easy to make. So if you end up making either of these, let me know what you end up thinking of them. And if you make both, let me know which is your favorite in the comments. But I really hope that today I inspired you to work towards slow homemaking or slow living in general and find ways to slow down your mind and just enjoy all that life has to offer, both in the fun and the mundane parts of our days. Like anything, I really wish that I'd figured this out earlier in my life, but I definitely feel like it's better late than never. Also, do not forget to check out Cricut down below so you can make some of those fun DIYs. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye guys!